Wow, I was going to talk about Shinzo Abe, but it just broke about 5 minutes ago that Elon Musk is terminating his buyout of Twitter. He's pulling out. He said he's had enough, and he's not going to be buying Twitter. So I guess I have to try and talk about both these things now. I hope I will be able to. I guess I'll periodically throughout the video check Elon Musk's Twitter to see if he says anything about this situation. As of this recording, his last tweet was from about 23 hours ago, and it didn't have anything to do with this. Musk has been hemming and hawing about the Twitter deal since pretty much he at first announced that he was going to try and buy Twitter. And I think that was for good reason. I thought it was a negotiating strategy. I thought he was trying to undermine the value of Twitter by exposing the bots and getting Twitter to lower the number of active users that they claimed were on the platform, which would undermine that value and would help him negotiate a better deal for Twitter at a lower price. Because after all, if you're Elon Musk and you're buying Twitter largely based off of the size of its user base, because the more active users you have, the more cattle you have to monetize. That's the way you have to think about a social media company. You are the product on social media. And so when they're counting active users, that's like if you're buying a ranch counting, how many head of cattle. But alas, Elon's terminating the deal entirely. Now, what could this be about? Could this be... Can he even do this? I don't know. If under the terms, I would imagine that someone of the means of Elon Musk, a multi-billionaire, I'm sure that he and his lawyers carved themselves an out from this deal. I'm sure that he has, found a way legally for him to walk away. And Twitter might challenge him in court and say, no, you need to give us money or some kind of earnest money. And who knows, maybe they will be able to squeeze some money out of him. But if he's saying now that he's terminating the deal, I'm not so sure that this can be seen as a negotiating tactic at this point. I think he might be serious. I think it might be that he got a peek under the hood of Twitter. He got to see what was going on in there, and he decided that he didn't like it and that it was beyond, perhaps, any repair. And you notice I'm being kind of mealy-mouthed in my analysis here, because this is so new, but I can't avoid talking about it now that it's here. I don't like to talk about stuff, when things are breaking news. I don't do that for a reason. I like to talk about things the next day when I've had time to digest them, but I can't do that in this case. I will say what I think needs to be said, and then I'll move on to Shinzo Abe, but I was not going to ignore this. So what could happen here? Assuming that Musk is able to terminate the deal, and he's able to get out, whether he loses money or not, I'm sure he'll probably lose something. I think that he will be under no gag order of any kind. He'll be under no obligation to keep his mouth shut. And I think after he talked so big about how he was going to buy Twitter, only to pull out now, I think he's going to want to go out and justify his decision. I think he's going to want to explain himself. And I think in the process, he is going to reveal perhaps some new information, if he's legally able to do so, that he uncovered. Because obviously when he first went in and sent in his bid to Twitter and it was accepted, at that stage, before he got more information, he thought that was a fair price. He was ready to go forward with it. He wanted to buy the company. And something has changed in that time. He's learned something over the course of this period, which has led him to withdraw his offer. And so the question is, what is that? What is it that he learned that he didn't already know, that he did not think could be remedied after he took over the company? I mean, he had a very noble goal. He said he didn't care about making money. He just wanted to create a free speech platform and recreate the town square. He thought Twitter was the perfect place for that. He wanted to save Twitter from, turning into an echo chamber. And now that's all out the window. Oh, and did I mention, I guess implicitly I did, but I didn't specifically point out, he dropped this after 5 o'clock on a Friday. So that's where news goes to die. Why would he want to bury this? That, to me, signals that Elon Musk is embarrassed about something. Now, obviously, you can't hide news this big by just dropping it after 5 p.m. on a Friday, but he definitely is a way of trying to mitigate the damage. If Elon Musk thought that terminating his Twitter bid was something that would make Twitter look worse than him, this would have come out earlier in the week or next week. Now, perhaps it wasn't Elon Musk who decided when this information was released. Perhaps it was the other side. Perhaps it's Twitter dropping this, and they just wanted it to be after 5 o'clock on a Friday to mitigate the damage to their stocks, to their stock price, which, according to Zero Hedge, last I checked, was down 7% after hours, based on this news, obviously. And so, you know what? It might just be that. Now that I think about it, because I forgot to check who the source was on this, whether this was coming from Twitter or from Musk's camp or from some third party. Now, am I super shocked that Musk pulled out of this? No. Although I will admit that I think he had even me fooled there for a while, because we got past a certain point. At first, I thought that Elon Musk, he has a history of making promises and not fulfilling them. Elon Musk is not, somebody who can, get promises made, promises kept, tattooed on his ass. It's just not him. He says a lot of stuff. He says a lot of really interesting things, and a lot of it turns to fairy dust. It's vaporware. That's the kind of guy he is. And whenever he says something like, hey, I'm going to buy Twitter, there's always a chance that ends up being another example of vaporware. But he went so far down this road that I really thought he was going to go through with it. And maybe he did intend to go through with it. And maybe that stuff that I said earlier that was, him trying to bluff and get a better deal and lower his bid, maybe I was right about that, and Twitter just wouldn't go along with it. They said, no, we've agreed to this price. This is the price we want. You can't cut it now. We're not going to give you money off. And he said, fine, then I'm walking away. It might be as simple as that. Even though this billionaire says, I don't care about making money, I think when you're talking about this much money, you still got to justify in your head what you're paying for. And if it's not worth it, it's not worth it. I'm sure in his mind, he's got a lot of what he considers to be great ideas in his head that will help the human race. And in his mind, if he spends too much money on Twitter, that's money that he could have spent doing something more valuable to society. Assuming that he truly is, as altruistic as he claims. Now, do I think he really is? No, probably not. I think that, he has a very different personality, so he doesn't come across as the typical, cynical, fake philanthropist, in the mold of George Soros and Bill Gates. But nevertheless, I have no reason to trust Elon Musk. So who knows? The Twitter deal may come back. But as it stands, here, after 5 p.m. on a Friday in mid-July, Elon Musk is not buying Twitter. So with that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.